Hello, trading is closed on July 3rd, 2017. My last call said the most likely thing was a gap outside of Friday's range. That's what happened. It's enough to satisfy the prediction. Next most likely thing was we closed, a little changed. My predictions don't really apply to futures, but if you look at the futures close on Friday and the futures close today, they were only 3¼ points apart, so it had some relevance. This is a target that was already satisfied, but you see it still has some support at it, even though it prints. I was looking for a pattern with an early high and a low around the close, around lunchtime, and that's what happens. On Wednesday, when the market reopens, I think the odds favor an early low after an hour and a half of trading. It wouldn't surprise me if we dropped right from the open. We do have positive and negative aspects from today's trade. As positive, we have a new ultimate signal that today's high will be topped at some point. Ultimate signals don't have any time frame, but usually you don't have to wait long. It's also positive we have a wall into the close and the Hobson close right at the low of the day. Many times this will be followed by having a gap up over this high. Arguing against that is the fact that it's pretty much the same pattern we had Friday. And when you gap up and have this Hobson close, when the same thing happens twice in a row, you shouldn't expect it to happen 3 times in a row. Doesn't mean we won't have a gap up, but I wouldn't expect the same pattern of a gap up and a close straight down at the end. What's negative about the pattern? We had a gap up, couldn't hold on to any of the highs, couldn't even hold on to any of the lows. What's also negative is that in this whipsaw, we had this breakout to new highs, couldn't hold a close over the highs, had this wonderful chance to confirm, couldn't hold on to the lows at the close. Now on today's rally, we couldn't even have a high equal to these highs. So we have one failure at the low, but repeated failures to break through these old highs. Now the more times you challenge, the more likely it is you'll break through, so perhaps that'll happen. But to me, we keep resisting these areas. I think it's strong resistance. I expect this low to fall first. One of the reasons is my wave count. Here was A. I think this is going to be a 5-wave pattern. I think it's incomplete, and it could truncate for sure. But if that's the low of wave 1 at 24.39.35, it probably isn't a coincidence that today's high, 24.39.17, was under this, keeping the pattern intact. Furthermore, today's high is a target of a prior consolidation. And if that's wave A, that's wave B with a perfect Fibonacci relationship. So I have a lot of resistance at today's high, a pullback not only under all these highs and these lows, but this high as well. When the market reopens, I think the most likely thing is we gap outside the day's range. Next most likely as we close, it'll change and have the big move Thursday. I'm thinking that we're going to have a pattern with an early low, and I think the most likely thing is we gap outside of today's range on the downside. As usual, if I'm wrong, it'll be obvious before the open by gapping up sharply. But I'm looking for a big move down, and that's today's call.